Happy October, everyone. I'm the Headbanger. Welcome back to the ball. The leaves are blowing. The pumpkin beer is flowing. It is October. No question, the greatest time of the year. I'm sure many of you will agree with that. It's just, the rest of the year is just a prelude to this month. Just cannot wait every year to get to October. The festivities all month long. A lot of people always count down to Halloween Day itself. To me, this all starts with October 1st and all the great plans that we have throughout the month with family, friends, and my band. So I hope you're all doing well so far this October. We're still young in the month here. Got a ways to go, which is exciting. Lately, haven't done too much. Obviously, with Horrors Ball, we had the Bigfoot episode. Check it out if you missed it last month. But I think just this season in general, Season 3 Horrors Ball, I haven't been able to do creatively all the things that I wanted to do. A lot of ideas, segment ideas and skits and stuff that just have not had the time to do, unfortunately. Particularly this summer, just been incredibly busy over the last several months with normal stuff, work and life, but also very busy with the band and very busy with Lil Headbanger's zombie film. So on that note, we are finished with it. In case you didn't know, we still have to edit it, and in a couple weeks or at the end of this month, we'll be showing the premiere of it locally at an actual theater. So it's very exciting. If you have yet to see the trailer, I'll post a link below, and definitely feel free to share it or do whatever you can. Much appreciated. And everyone out there who has already supported Lil Headbanger and her movie, very much appreciated from all of us. So yeah, just incredibly busy. This summer just flew by. I did some road trips, and this next couple months is going to be no different. But yeah, very excited for October. I will get a Halloween episode in, I promise that. It probably should take place right on Halloween. I have kind of a mini vacation, which starts on Halloween Day. I pretty much do that every year with my vacation. Got to get free from work during that great time of the year. So I should be able to film something, at least a segment at least, on Halloween Day or Halloween night. So look for that. If I can get another episode in, I'll try to, but I really doubt it. But I figured to get something in to kick off this great month, we shot something. It was a while back, but wasn't able to get it out there, and I figured this would be perfect time to do kind of something special, and it's something I thought I would never do, honestly. It is a list, and it's pretty much the list that the granddaddy of all lists that you can do as a horror fan. I just never thought I would do it because it's just a painstaking process to put it together, and it probably always changes. If I were to shoot the same list right now, maybe there'd be some changes. We don't know how that works, but check it out. I hope you enjoy it. My top 10 list of all time. Never thought I would do it, but why not do it? Why not do it during the best month of the year? Happy October, everybody. We'll see you soon. We'll see you on Halloween. I hope you guys have a great month, and just enjoy it. Welcome everybody to I'm not going to say special edition because they're all special, an extra special edition of Horrors Ball. This is something that I never thought I would do ever. I love watching other people's top lists. The closest thing I did to it was last season. I did my top 10 favorite slasher films that weren't part of Friday the 13th or the franchises besides those, Halloween. I did top 10 of that. If you missed that episode, check it out. Maybe I'll put a link below for that. But that's the closest thing I ever did to an actual list, top list. Only because of the reason of it, as you can imagine, they're just so difficult. When you like millions of horror films like we do, it's very millions, at least millions, maybe even billions. It's difficult to narrow it down to 10. So obviously, something like this, there's going to be just countless films that you wish were in that list, And I just never wanted to take that challenge on. For whatever reason, I guess lately I've watched some other people's lists, and I don't know, for whatever reason it just suddenly struck me as something I want to do. And then I figured, well, the misery of compiling this top 10 list and the difficult decisions, why not drag someone down with me. So I went with the misery loves company theory, and it just so happened to be around the time of this guy's birthday. So I'm like, hey, 26, for your birthday, you want to create a ridiculous top 10 horror film list with me, and we'll tape it. And so that's what I did. So it is his birthday recently. So we're going to celebrate here. We got a movie night tonight, which we usually do, and we're going to add this little special occasion for this. And well, first let's get to the drink.
Right.
As usual, this is special for 26's birthday. This is he picked this out. We had a awesome beer shopping day today at this very cool place around here. I could spend literally hours in there. We're probably in there for maybe 40 minutes. Mrs. Hedberg was sleeping in the car while we were in there. This is what's that? Monk Stout.
Monk Stout
Dupont. That's actually more French. This is Belgian.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Not to drink it.
Yeah, don't drink it yet. So yeah, we've never had this before, and this is for 26's birthday, and as well as this special episode. First time ever, our top 10 horror films of all time separately. This wasn't a collaborative thing. So Charles, happy birthday.
Charles, thank you.
Oh, man, that's good. I like it.
Tastes better than the sun.
Yeah, we had some head problems earlier on when we were pouring this. Very good. All right. Now here's the cool thing about this though, is you know it's fitting not just that it is his birthday. It's that I've said it before. He's kind of like been my longest time friend of someone that I've watched probably the most horror films with somebody else. It would be you. And some of the early on I'd watched with a friend of mine, Mark, who unfortunately is no longer with us. But shortly after that, I probably we had met 26 here, and we got into horror films right away together. And so I think it just fits anyway that I would do this with you. And I think when doing a top 10 list, that's what's cool to it as well. I don't know how I gotta say that. We don't know each other's lists.
Right, we didn't tell each other.
No, so that just adds, I think, I'm just as excited to like tell you people mine as to find out his. You're probably like, well, come on, you guys are friends, you probably talk about it all the time. We actually never have had a discussion of like...
About our fave... Well,
right, like we probably mentioned things, but we've never been like, so...
what's your favorite horror movie
of all time?
Like, there's only a dick asked you that
yeah, like, it's kind of like asking a chick what her favorite color is when you're trying to like hit on her or something. It's never really... The thing is, we have such similar tastes. We just never really discussed like this whole topic. So through all the years that we watch films, so it's pretty exciting. I mean, we could have a general idea. I could probably make some guesses. We both could. Yeah. But I think even though we have similar tastes and we agree on more things than we don't, we also, I know for a fact these lists are probably going to be pretty different.
I'm thinking, yeah.
We like a lot of the similar things, but I think as far as what we consider our favorites, I think it's going to be really different. I think, like I said, I'm really excited to see his list, and I'm sure he's feeling the same way. But I think things that factor into your list, I think, which is cool, and this will fit in with us doing this together, is, certain things come into effect. Obviously, how much you love the film, but I think nostalgia, where you were when you saw it, who you were with, what the situation was, you know what I mean?
Agree, yeah.
I think in some situations, at least, I think that could factor into some selections. So this is cool. A lot of you guys out there have done this, and I always enjoy watching your list. So I thought I would never do it just because it was just going to give me too much of a headache. I actually did one. We're going to do them in order, descending order, so they're not just like our top 10. These are actually in order. And 1 through 5 was pretty easy for me, and I think you said the same with you. Like my top half of my list was easier than my bottom half.
Right, 1 through 4 was really easy, but once you get to that, once I got to 5 through 10, it was very nitpicky.
And then you start thinking when you're doing early, you start thinking what's going to get left out, and I think that's the problem. You're like, oh my god, I only have 2 picks left. Right. What about that?
And I actually tried not to put that into consideration.
Right, but it's just subconscious, I think. So yeah, what we're going to do at the end of this list is, or at least I will, I don't know if you will, I'm going to at least tell you guys a few things that bother me about my list as a whole. That would be fun. Just quickly mention a few things. Enough bullshit, let's get to it. We'll start with you. So you give us your number
10.
Number 10. We're starting
number 10.
Top 10 horror films of all time.
I chose for number 10 Cemetery Man, aka Delamore Delamorte.
Directed by
Michel Soavi.
Soavi.
Actually, it was really, number 10 was between that and Stage Fright, believe it or not. And I actually like Cemetery Man just a little bit more than Stage Fright.
We're both big fans of him.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked about him in the past.
And, I mean, the movie, it's the reason it's number 10. Obviously, it's got a whole surreal tone to it. The ending is phenomenal.
It's his most unique horror film,
Right.
I would say, of his films.
It's, yeah, definitely. Performance by Rupert Everett is just great in that movie.
Fantastic. I love the film. Love it. I think, yeah, the first time I saw it was with you.
Yeah, probably.
So that was cool. You know, I remember the first time we watched an amazing film. We both rave about that director, that he stopped making horror films after 4 great ones. Yeah, great pick. Can't disagree with that one. Awesome film. My 10th, number 10, would be David Lynch's Eraserhead, which the first time I saw it, watched it with you. Hell of a night. I remember that night.
Yeah.
I was a kid when I watched that movie.
Yeah, Mrs. Headbanger's off camera. She saw that as a kid because she has a horrible great father, horribly great father, my father-in-law. But
I was like 4.
she's talking. Here's the thing with that film, just to quickly. I mean, we don't have to discuss the film, but what that film represents to me is, and we both like films of this ilk, the whole horror subgenre of that kind of mind fuck, if you want to call it, or art house, if you want to throw that in there. But what respects me so much about that film in particular, because I still think it's his best film, even though it's his first, of films of that ilk, is it being so disturbing, but you can't exactly explain why it disturbs you. It just does. There's a tone to it, an atmosphere, things you can't, of course, immediately explain, but they just rub you in a really, not just strange way, but a really dark, disturbing way. And that movie just freaks me out. And I respect that way of filmmaking so much. It's not for everybody. A lot of people will see, you know, he's one of those directors or movies of that type where you're just kind of like, I don't, you know, it either hits you or it doesn't.
Yeah, his movies genuinely terrify me. So,
but it's a different kind of terror, you know what I mean? It's more cerebral.
Yeah, I left Lynch.
Well, don't give away.
Yeah,
don't give away, Russ.
But
yeah, you gotta like watch what you say while we're commenting on these films. But yeah, it's a different type of. It just goes to show there's lots of ways to scare somebody, and that's why I respect a film like that so much. Yeah, we both are affected by that film very. So that's my number 10. Go to your number 9.
My number 9 is kind of surprising. It's Cannibal Holocaust. Overall, just because.
Why do you say surprising?
Surprising because I don't know if you would have expected me to have that on my list actually.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Therefore, the surprise.
I'd seen the whole thing pretty recently, and it was that good that it made it onto it. It fought like hell to get there, but it made it into my top 10.
So what? I kind of forget. Was that the first time you'd seen it all the way through?
Yeah.
So you were actually recent as far as seeing it.
I've watched it a few times since.
But you had
then,
not. Okay, cool.
But, you know, obviously it's got a great soundtrack. It's hard to beat that soundtrack.
Amazing soundtrack.
Just, you know, it is the best of those cannibal movies by far.
By far, yeah.
And it's just a great story. The message of the movie is
got
really
a message,
cool.
Yeah.
You know, it might come across as exploitative, but you know,
the more I watch the film, the more I think it isn't.
Right. I think it does give that vibe to it, that it's not trying to be exploitative.
Yeah. But especially if it's one of the like a film like Irreversible, which is the rape scene is always like.
Yeah.
But really, the more you watch, you realize what it's about. It's really not exploitation to me. But yeah, awesome pick, amazing pick. I'll get my 9 in before we have to, you know, take a time out here because my memory card. Excuse me, that Belgian ale's coming up. Number 9 for me is Hellraiser, Clive Barker. The film for me, we don't have to talk about Pinhead and all that. And I think sometimes franchises, because of what was to follow, that can affect the perception of the first film. I think that franchise went downhill steadily. I really like number 2, part 2, but after that, it's kind of. But the first Hellraiser, one of those films you always remember the first time you saw it. Had a really big effect on me. Not growing up with horror films. To me, it has that evil, truly evil presence. And on that note, we have to take a time out. All right, so back to Hellraiser. You know, it just had that very evil, to me, real evil feeling to it. It was the first time I had seen it. I just had that creepy too. I fell in love with Ashley Lawrence and her performance. Like, not only was she hot, but I think her performance really was amazing in it. The whole thing when the attic, the room, everything, it was just creepy and evil at the same time to me. The religious elements to it, it's just one of those ones that hit me hard and blew me away, really, first time I saw it. The gore effects, there's some stuff that's in it, it's a bit dated now, some of the effects, but as far as the gore itself, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's really just the beams.
The beams, which is like the 80s, 90s version of CGI, but the gore effects, though, were fantastic, and it just left that lasting impression on me. Truly, at the time, for me, a purely evil, creepy movie. So that would be my number 9.
I'm on 8, right?
Yeah, 8.
8 would be Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Nice.
Just, of course, Michael Rooker's performance. Everyone is really good in it, but what I like most about that movie, though, is that it's not overly violent. You see a lot of the aftermath of the violence in it, but the portrayal of the serial killer is really good in it. People say it's realistic. I mean, it is to a degree. Most serial killers aren't smart enough to change up their methods of killing like Henry was, but or they just don't want to. They want to leave the trail.
It's tough to call something realistic or not.
Yeah,
it's like based on what,
right.
But it definitely has a realistic vibe to it.
It has it does, and it's a great movie, obviously.
Michael Rooker's performance of his career, I would say, awesome pick. That one actually surprised me, not because it's not worthy, just I didn't think that would be in your top. So my number 8, my favorite horror director, Mario Bava's Black Sunday. With this one, it's kind of tough having a film by someone who is, I've said this a million times, he's my favorite horror director, being so high at number 8, but nonetheless, it's one of those things. I don't even know if I would consider this his best film, especially for someone who has such a deep catalog. But it's my favorite of his. Maybe subconsciously it's his first, and what a debut. It was black and white, so you got that. But to me, it's just when I think about this film, it's almost to me like it wasn't one of the first horror films, but to me it was like the Ben-Hur, Gone with the Wind of horror. It's just real majestic and epic. It was shot to me like no one else had shot a horror film before. Right. That's really when he came into horror, it was his cinematography, because that's what he was prior to being a director. That's what I think made a lasting impression on people, is how great the movie looked. And that movie, even in black and white, just looks spectacular. So to me, it just has that like epic horror film vibe to it, and that was really the first time a horror film, to me anyway, had looked like that. And you got Barbara Steele, that was her breakthrough role into the genre, which was a big deal. The effects, which a lot of people don't talk about, were really cool in that film, even to today's standards. The creepy vibe, beautifully shot. I just look at that, and I kind of, part of this too is how I look on Mario Bava. I consider him like up here, and everyone else is down here, and he's kind of like to me, he's like the godfather of horror. Just I consider him all the great films that he made in horror, and that was like his first one. And to me, I look at that film on this different level. It has this like truly epic, on this pedestal for me with that film. So that's why I had. What are your thoughts on that movie?
It's obviously it's a great pick. I don't have much more to add to it.
Yeah, stroked it pretty well. Right. And the big deal too, though, that really was Barbara Steele's breakthrough within horror, anyway. So number 7 we're on now.
Number 7.
This is fun. I'm enjoying this.
You're enjoying? I'm not enjoying.
He's still tortured.
Number 7, I picked the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Tobe Hooper.
Tobe Hooper, one of his few great movies. Obviously, that's.
I don't know if I'd say that. First off.
Really?
I mean, I think
what else do you think
he had a handful of.
Like what?
Fun House.
Okay, yeah.
I like Eaten Alive a lot. I don't know if I'd call it great, but I really like it.
That's what I'm saying.
It's truly great.
Okay. His best movie.
Oh no! Oh yeah, no question. No question.
Anyway,
we don't want to get off track here.
Actually, this is another one that I think a lot of people associate gore with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it is more low key. It more relies on the creepiness.
I think the people who dislike it bring up the fact that it should be gory.
It should be
because
gory.
it's a sci. That's what I've heard people say anyway.
But I mean, just the location, the way they start the movie off with the hitchhiker is just great. I mean, the whole vibe of the movie
The vibe
is really
to me
cool.
is just, it's all. A lot of people can say this about film. I think you hear people say this. To me, with that film, I feel like I'm in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's done so well. Like the acting's so. You know, I just feel like I'm sitting there with them going through all. You can't say that about every film. You know,
Right.
he just did so good at conveying that film. You know, that like you said, you feel hot and sweaty while you're watching it. You know, like
I
it's
think
just.
that's with the cinematography too, the way it was
is.
shot. The
I don't think he
camera
gets
was
enough
all
credit for that
right.
aspect
The
of the
camera
film.
was right up in, you know, everyone's face,
Right.
Yeah, no
and
question.
moving with them. Yeah.
There are some incredibly memorable scenes. Just the dinner scene alone
Oh,
is one of the best scenes
beautiful.
in a movie.
If you could say it's a classic for a reason, in many levels with that film, no question. We could talk for an hour about that movie alone. All right, great pick. Number 7 for me, and I'll get a comment here off camera. Dan O'Bannon's Return of the Living Dead. Had to be in my list. I didn't know where it was going to be, but
Good.
I've said this before. I think it's the most quotable horror film of all time.
Yeah,
I could recite it from start to finish easily. A film that never gets old watching. I still laugh at it.
It's just, yeah.
I mean, from start to finish, it's incredibly entertaining. And a lot of people, you know, we mentioned about how funny and cheesy at times it is, but also really straight out good. I mean, the zombies look great. The gore is fantastic. You could look at some of the performances over the top, but I look at them as just great. I mean, I love that cast.
Realistic.
Every single
Very
character.
realistic.
Yeah, I mean, the script was great. What a cast. I mean, everybody in that film is just so entertaining and well done. Great ending, like the downer ending. I mean, just as far as enjoyable, I just love it every single time I watch it.
Definitely.
To me, that movie is perfect.
Yeah,
It's
it's one of Mrs.
perfection.
Headbanger's.
It is my number
It's her number one. It would
It
be her
is.
number one if
Her
she was
number
sitting
one.
here.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
moving on.
Yeah.
You should-
It's up to you, unless you want to say anything else.
No,
about
I don't
the
have
movie.
anything else to say about Return.
Okay.
Return is a great fucking movie. Number
Number
6,
six.
Dawn of the Dead.
Directed by, in
George A. Romero.
case you didn't know, in case you thought it was the remake.
Yeah, I probably
had to
should
make
have
that clear.
clarified
Say the
that,
director now from now on. Say, you know.
It's not the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead.
Someone's like, oh,
Who?
My favorite zombie movie of all time. So, you know, if I had to work a zombie movie, and I didn't really have to work to put the movie into it. It's definitely in my top 10.
it's number 6.
It's number 6. I don't really know what to say about Dawn of the Dead.
I mean, come on, yeah, another thing about, I mean, great cast, you know. Ken Faree, I think, really shines. And
Right.
when I think of him, who I love, it's that movie, you know.
Yeah, he's definitely. I think all of them are good. I think him and the other cop are both
Yeah.
really.
Oh, yeah. And
really good in
What's
it.
her name? Galen Ross.
Mhm.
Jalen Ross. She's fantastic. The setting.
The setting, yeah, the mall. Not my favorite tone of zombies, like the blue tone, but
Zombies themselves certainly aren't the
they're
best
not
looking
the best.
zombies,
No,
but it
they're
works.
still cool. Yeah.
It doesn't like bother me in the film.
Right.
At the same time, there are some good zombies in the film
Or
that are kind of like
memorable zombies.
ones
the
sitting up there on the
flat
shelf.
zombie,
Yeah,
the
the one.
flyboy.
Yeah, when he flyboy. Yeah, obviously great pick.
Harry Krishna.
Very Chris, right. So this, while the makeup wasn't the best, you still have like unique ones that you can remember from the film. Yeah, obviously, no question, one of the best, greatest zombie films of all time. Hey, number 6 for me. There's one I got to do a little prelude. At this point on, for my list, it's almost like, to me, these films from here on up, to me, are number 1 caliber. To me, you know, that quality, like, especially this one, I'm surprised myself that this one, it's almost like a draft. You know, when a pick falls down. So if this were like a movie
It's the
draft,
value pick.
this would be a steal at this pick. And it kind of surprised me that it fell this far, and I kind of bothered by that a little bit. But with what's ahead of it, I can't really argue. But this one at number 6 could easily be number 1 for me. So you're probably intrigued, I can tell.
Yeah,
This is number 6, John Carpenter's Halloween. Yeah, it's almost like robbed at number 6 for me. I adore this film. It's almost pretty much flawless to me. Another one that kind of we talk about with Chainsaw Massacre, not the goriest of slashers. It's all about atmosphere, vibe. Obviously, we all know, what it inspired. Great soundtrack, one of the most infamous scores. When October rolls around, which is my favorite month, I immediately think of this film. Need to watch it. I mean, what can you say about it? I'll talk about this a million times, but I adore it, love it. It brings a vibe to me that just can't be matched, and easily could be my #1 pick, but it fell to number 6. But I love it, everything about it.
So number 5? We on 5?
Yeah, we'll do your 5.
We're almost
we
out
might
of time.
as well just I'm gonna stop. So we're halfway there. We gotta speed things up here in this final segment. So I hope you're enjoying this. I am. You might not be.
Yeah.
We'll be back with our final 5.